Hey folks, welcome back to WarThunder. I've got a bit of a treat for you today. One of the best games, if not the best game, that I've ever had, at least playing Russia in this game. So we're in a top tier sim event. It's the one that blocks the use of aircraft, so it's only helis in the air. Usually I hate this mode with a burning passion, because without anything to keep the helis in check, quite often you'll see them win the game single-handedly, especially the Zulu and the Mi-35. Thankfully in this game there was precious little helicopters, at least, that did any major damage to the teams on either side, so it was mostly just focusing on tanks, and as you'll see right now, the heli just threw his spawn away at the start of the game. Interesting point to note, that's actually a Russian helicopter on the German team. Now, I am kind of against the mixing of East and West Germany being in the same lineup, because I think it's kind of, well, at least in Sim anyway, it's sort of stupid that with East Germany being a NATO of the Soviet Union, you get to use their vehicles as a German player in the NATO team. But I've been told that the West Germany did actually use the Hind after the Berlin Wall fell, so I guess it's maybe a little bit excusable, but you can't fly the German MiG-15 in sim battles, or ground sim battles anyway, for the reason that it's obviously fighting for the other team, and it would be stupid. So it makes me wonder whether the new MiG-19 that Germany are getting will be able to be used in sim battles. My guess is that it won't, and chances are no one would anyway, because I think its ground pounding capabilities are going to be pretty bad. But anyway, so just before we go on to what's happening right now, some people might have noticed that I was controlling the roof gun to kill the Hind independently of the actual main gun on the tank. There are control bindings for this. They aren't set as default, obviously, which is probably why you don't know that you can do it, but I have them set to 7, 8 and 9 on the keyboard, so after fire extinguisher and artillery and all that stuff. And it lets me cycle through the roof gun, the main gun, and then it lets me bind the two back together. So if you don't have them all bound, then you'll end up detaching the roof gun from your main guns being slaved to the same target, and you'll not be able to fire both of them at the same point without switching between them. I'm making this sound more convoluted than it is, but if you just go into the control bindings, it's dead simple. So this Poland layout I find questionable. It's very biased towards the team that gets the spawn that I got, because as I'm doing right now, all you need to do is drive up into B1, get on this hill, get hull down, and you can see the two main avenues out of their spawn, and just pick them off with impunity. I think so far we've got 3 kills. The heli, the Abrams and the 2K. 3 kills. I go on a merry rampage in this game, and although we still win, the ending is a bit of a heartbreaker, at least for me. But we'll get into that nearer the time. I appreciate that it's a pretty long video, but it's pretty actiony, at least in terms of kills, pretty much throughout the entire thing, so just bear with me, alright? So the battle's still unfolding, and for the time being I'm happy to just hold this position down and keep deleting their tanks as they roll unabated through this open area without really checking their surroundings. There is ample visual and terrain solid cover to use to get out of here. You can also obviously use smoke if you want, so it's not completely impossible, but it would be unfair to say that they aren't at a massive disadvantage. I'm still learning the gun, by the way, so anyone that's saying, oh, you know, easy shots, whatever, it's I'm used to much lower velocity, so I keep tending to lead more than I need to. And then on the shots where I'm thinking, well, I led too much last time, I'll lead less this time, I end up not compensating enough, so I'm either hitting things at the front or the back, unless it's like the third shot on target. Now, you'll probably actually struggle to see this guy on YouTube, and watching the footage back, I'm not even sure how the hell I saw him myself, but when you're scanning for targets, the human eye is much better at picking out movement. So if you remain stationary, you'll pick out targets a lot more easily. So my bet is now that he's going to be repairing, because I knocked his gun out and his horizontal drive. If I were him, I would have got behind a building, but many players aren't me, so I'm going to just try and skirt around and get eyes on. This was definitely one of those moments where I wasn't sure if I was looking at a building or a tank, but I'm going to take the shot anyway and wing it, and I got lucky there. And then I got even luckier because this Abrams appeared to be watching me that entire time and didn't react. Like, he would have killed me with the single shot to the side. I was completely exposed to him, and for some reason he just sat and watched. Really butchering the shots on this. I think, in my defense, at this point I didn't have the elevation mod, so the up and down deviation of shots is not perfectly accurate. Yeah, really. I know, it's an excuse, I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. I'm also adding to the excuse list using the stock shell, because I haven't persuaded this vehicle yet. I think I'm currently researching the OOORAH, but at this point I was still dealing with the elevation module. So they've started to cap our point. Now, this is a problem because I have very little ammo left, and they have quite a bit of tanks remaining, so I'm just going to rush there. I'm not going to push in like an idiot. I'm going to try and play this smart. Always try and figure out where your target is before making a move, rather than making a move and hoping that you'll find it on the way, because if you're moving, you're already immediately at a disadvantage. It's harder for you to aim at them, easier for them to aim at you, and although they might not get a weak spot, you're more likely to have your side exposed. So patience is key. Right now I'm just kind of concerned about my rear towards our spawn, because I can hear shots and it sounds a bit like they might be flanking around the lake or on the other side of the lake. I don't think they're actually on the cap right now. They've moved off somewhere, but I don't know where that is. I don't know if they already moved off it before I even got here, so they could have pushed up the hill to my right and be somewhere in the low ground. If you look low left in a minute when I turn around, then there's actually a leopard that I miss completely. Look right on the left hand side of the screen now. Just briefly glimpse him. He ends up getting killed. We push in, we cap the point back. As I put on screen, this is about 4 minutes later, so I've sat around and I've got some ammunition, and I'm moving straight back into B1. In Sim, the most effective way to win is to ignore the capture points and focus on whittling their numbers down, because you can tell from the scoreboard and the fact that in Sim you only have a limited number of spawns. Just by looking at the scoreboard and looking at the kill feed, you know precisely what everyone on the other team is driving. You know how many spawns they've got left. And by communicating with your team, which I'll admit there isn't much of in this match, but using pings and callouts, you can kind of work out a reasonable mental map of where the enemy team is. So at this moment in time, I think I'm the last tank on the team. There's just me, and there's like a friendly hind, which I don't actually realise so far. So like I said, it's about whittling the numbers down. Now, I feel kind of bad about killing this guy, because if you've tried to fly the Alouette in Sim, you'll know that it's basically impossible. And that guy was actually hovering. I don't know how, and people in the comments might say, oh, the stability modes, blah blah blah. The Alouette doesn't have them, and I swear the flight model is just broken. I was trying to fly it the other day, and it just keeps oscillating left and right. Like, I understand that helicopters have the tail rotor, which is to counteract the torque of the main rotor to stop you from just spinning around. It doesn't matter. I added trim to it, and it would still swing me left and right 30 degrees either way, constantly. It is impossible to fly, completely impossible. And to add insult to injury, the machine guns that are attached to it, for some reason, have a spool time, even though they're not rotary guns. Anyway, so I killed that guy in the heli, and my immediate thought was, he's going to be respawning. I checked the scoreboard, I saw that he's still got 1 life remaining, so I'm sitting around here basically waiting for him to peek out, because I know that he's going to have to come either at me or towards the town, and I should be able to catch him crossing either one of those. But they're also capping our point, so I want to get over there, but I also don't want to get caught crossing by him, so I'm going to wait as long as I can. Thankfully the person didn't stick around on our cap, they just drove through it to decap, so they're not an immediate issue. And I thought this might be the guy. Different guy. So there's still somebody over there that could kill me if I cross. So what I'm going to do instead is back off towards the west side of the map, get into the low ground, and then cross that way. Now here, because I'm very paranoid at this point, I've got a ridiculous number of kills for a sim game, and I'm ranging the hull and the turret, and the difference in range is big. So I'm thinking it's probably a different tank. Turns out it's just the turret that blew off when I killed him, and it landed like 300 meters behind his tank, which is mental. Could have been me misjudging the range and ranging the wrong spot, but either way, I shot a dead tank's turret. He fucked up. He could have totally had me there. I think that I might have been moving right as he took the shot, which made him miss my breach, which I'm guessing is what he was aiming at. But he fucked up. In sim, or just in general really, if you have a tank in your sights that doesn't know you're there, do not engage it if you have worse cover than it does, because it will have a massive advantage if you don't hit your mark. Always go to cover before engaging. Do not, if you can avoid it, never engage from open ground, because you're always going to lose. Unless they're in open ground too, but then it's a 50-50. It's not worth taking the risk. Take the extra time to range your shot in properly, take the extra time to get into some cover. If they haven't seen you, they aren't a threat, so use the time it takes them to spot you to improve your chances of winning the engagement. Now that he's dead, I only have to worry about whoever was on B and the guy that I killed in the heli that came back from his respawn. I have no idea where he is, and because I'm having to push their cap, I can't keep tabs on 2 directions at once. I keep scanning left when I can, but I need to focus front, because if the guy capping came up here, then he's going to shoot me whilst I'm looking in a different direction, and that's never going to go well. He's pushed back onto the cap because it finished decapping, so they're now actually capping our point. He's smoked up to cover from our hind, which is wise, but it also makes it incredibly obvious to me where he is. So at this point I'm wondering whether I should stay put, wait for the smoke to dissipate, and then push him, or if I should get in close, but not close enough for him to hear my engine, whilst the smoke's still up, because that'll blind him and then I can come from a side he's not going to expect. I'm going to decide to go for the latter option. He wasn't paying attention at all, and I got pretty lucky there. Often shooting in third person through little fences and stuff can really fuck with your aim. It was luck. It was honestly luck. I should have gone into the site and guaranteed it better, but if you go into the site, then those fences can be really hard to see through. So it was one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of things, and I just winged it and it worked out. That could have been the end of the game for me, or at least the end of this tank. Now I think it's just me, the hind, and the guy on the other team that was in the Alouette. So what I'm going to do right here is pitch up in a place where I'm not going to expect him to expect me to be. A safe spot, an unlikely location, and I'm going to check the kill feed and I'm going to check the scoreboard. Find him on the kill feed. Last tank that he was in was a Leopard 2A4. So now I'm going to inform the Hind that that's what he's looking for. And I'm going to check the scoreboard, and there's just shy of 8 minutes on the clock, and we have a ticket advantage to the tune of around 300 tickets, which means if he kills both of us, he'll win by wiping our vehicles out. But if he kills, he still won't have enough points to win, so he'll have to kill us to win. Now, I hear this heli coming in and I'm thinking, man, that's loud. If I was on the enemy team, I'd be shooting at it. So I look around and it's actually been hit already, and the Leopard engages it with MGs. So I'm following the tracer, and I'm guessing that he's in the tree line where the Leopard 1 was that I killed before, you know, where I took a shot at the turret after I'd blown it off thinking it was another tank. That's where I'm guessing he is, by where the tracers were coming from. And by some sheer fluke, the heli didn't actually die fully, and it's crash landed in their cap, and is actually at least set the decap going, if not actually capping it. I wasn't paying that much attention. But at this point, I can feel my fucking heart going a million beats a second, because if I kill this guy, I'll have got 12 kills with no deaths in a sim game, which is the best I think I've ever done. So what happens? I fucking bodge the shot. It only kills his loader. I'm thinking, my armor's pretty good, but he gets my gun. Tactics here. At first I'm thinking it's lost, I'm dead, it's fucked, there's no point even trying, but then I remembered that Gaijin added this ridiculous mechanic that's it's kind of like in arcade battles, where if you wait long enough then your gun bridge can be fixed, in inverted commas, and it actually gives you the chance to shoot. So I'm getting behind him because his engine deck stops him being able to aim his gun down, and I'm trying to block him in against this tree, and as you can see it's almost repairing. I get very close a bunch of times, but he shoots this fucking tree down. So I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to have to wait and hope that he fucks the shot up. But in retrospect, I should have popped smoke, I should have angled myself towards him. I didn't do either of those because I was shaking like a fucking leaf. And he kills me. But yeah, 11 fucking kills, a cap. 2 of the kills were aircraft. Probably my best run ever in a Russian tank, if not any tank. I've got 11 kills in sim before in the Challenger 1. This is this game was probably better than that one. Right, so check the scoreboard again. I know it's just him. I know that we still have a points lead, but now I want to see how much time there is left, because I can potentially get another kill. So there's about 4.5 minutes to go. I decide it's not worth me risking. If I die, we've lost the game, and it's not worth throwing the game over, you know, being greedy and wanting a 12th kill. So instead what I'm going to do is cross the lake, which I would have never done before, because I can't get back to reset our cap fast enough if anyone goes into it. But now that I know that it's just him left, which is one of the advantages of sim, because if this was RB, there'd still be people around with like 4 spawns to go. People get so many spawns that whittling the numbers down in RB just isn't really a valid tactic. But in sim, it is. I know there's only one guy left. I know he's not coming back after, so what I can afford to do is sit here knowing that he's somewhere on the right hand side of this road I'm looking down. He literally has to cap to win, or he has to kill me. Which means he's going to be on the hunter-killer mission, he's going to be roaming around, he's going to be heading towards our side of the map. So if I just look at this road, he's going to have to cross it at some point, or he's going to have to come all the way around the lake from their side to get me, and chances are he's not going to expect me to have gone there, and it'll be a waste of his time, and he'll throw the game. Now, it might be the case that he's unaware of how sim mechanics work, and he might not know that there's only a minute and a half left on the clock. He might not know he's at a score disadvantage. He might be sat waiting for me to come looking for him without realising that he's going to lose the match. Because these mechanics are things that you gradually pick up the more you play sim, but it's the things like this that makes sim such an immersive and intense game mode. You don't get your heart going like this in RB, and I know that it's probably difficult for you to really get the same feeling that I had when I was doing it, and my commentary is probably a bit drawl and hard to hard to get it across as well, because I'm just not a very emotionally expressive person, as I'm sure you'll criticise in the comments. I've seen it before, but anyway, he never crosses my path, but we win on points because the timer runs out. So let's just skip ahead to the end. So 9 tank kills, 2 air kills, 1 cap and 1 death nets me 65,000 silver and 11,200 modifications research. So I hope that in this commentary I've maybe outlined some of the more intricate gameplay mechanics that sim has, and helped you understand that you can use the information that the game gives you, even though it might look on the surface like it gives you less information. Lack of markers, lack of map pings, all this kind of thing, but it's more under the skin, if you know what I mean, and there's more to it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you'll try sim out now for yourself. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.